Great. Do you want to respond to some of the points raised in the discussion?
Oh,
Yeah, some really
Go
good
ahead.
points, and listen, I'm making some notes, Matt, because I will take it back. Let me just talk briefly about the NEC, if that's okay, mate. The dynamic in the NEC obviously has changed, Matt, as you'll know from Ian's feedback. In Jeremy's tenure, we obviously had the majority, and it's fair to say the NEC was effectively run by Joe Bradley on the left, and it's from Jeremy's office. And it's fair to say, obviously, that the left voted on behalf of Jeremy, and there was a consistency with that. Obviously, Keir Starmer gets elected, and the dynamic changes. The right are obviously in charge, and we need to then regroup and find a strategy reflective of the fact that we're a minority but must have our voice heard. And I think we're finding that strategy. I think we are coming together. The first thing that a number of people have referenced is that it is left v right now. It isn't, the concept is, as Matt will be able to say, the concept of the unions voting in one direction and the CLP reps voting in another direction has gone. It is about the left being unified, and those unions who are on the left voting with the left. That's ourselves, obviously Unite FBU, obviously CWU, Bakers, and it is about getting that left cohort. And what we've been doing is coming together before the NECs, talking about the business that is there, talking about the questions that are to be asked, and then trying to influence the day. Now, we are not naive in respect of where the vote is going to, but we do have a strategy in respect of our communications afterwards and being very vocal. A number of people referenced that it's easier, and it is easier. I accept it is easier. It is easier for trade union officials to speak the truth than it is for others. So we've talked in detail about a communications strategy after each NEC, about going on platforms such as this, Socialist Telly, doing podcasts, having interviews where we talk very clearly about the business within the NEC and refusing to be silenced. I think that's very important. Nadia referenced some aspects that are privileged arising out of the recent discussion on the EHRC. But obviously, and I made this point at the end of the last NEC, that we won't be silenced in respect of the fact that they rejected motions on freedom of speech and rejected an appeal to deliver up submissions that have been made to the EHRC, so as we can understand how the EHRC came to the report they came to, that we won't be silenced. So there is a strategy in place to make sure that after each NEC that we can go out to the membership, talk about what we've said at the NEC, show that there is a fight back going on in the NEC, talk about what's happening in respect of shutdown of freedom of speech, and make sure everybody has confidence that we are speaking on their behalf in the NEC. There is also a strategy that's been put together in respect of model motions that CLPs can pass, and Unite definitely intends to write to David Evans with a list of motions that we are circulating amongst our members who hold officer positions in the CLPs to say that these are the motions that we are saying are legitimate motions, and if he refuses them or tries to lock them down, then he'll be in a battle with Unite, and that battle will take us obviously in a legal direction as well as in a members' direction. But Matt, you hit on it, I think, whenever you said, about protests and where would we be in respect of this. We've had to do things because of the COVID environment. The walkout from the NEC was obviously all around the factionalism in respect of overlooking Ian Murray for the chair of the NEC. I think if we hadn't walked out of that NEC, nobody would have quite understood why we were so upset. Nobody would have really got that there was a protocol that meant that Ian should take up that chair, and you wouldn't have had a better chair than Ian. So the reality is, as we come out of COVID, we will see the protests starting. I think we would be having protests now outside Southside. I think we'd be having protests regularly outside Keir Starmer's localities if it wasn't for COVID. So Alison referenced the importance of keeping people motivated over the coming months, and her CLP obviously is very motivated at the moment, but can we keep that going for months? And I believe that we very much can keep that going for months. And if we do keep it going for months, then coming out of COVID, we will see the activity of the left, and we'll see that activity leading up to conference. And I very much hope, Matt, and I'm sure that you agree with me, that whenever we move now towards conference, that we can talk as one left body. that this idea that there's a union bloc and there's then the CLP bloc, that we lose that completely, and that we can talk as one left body in conference and put motions forward that obviously are designed to democratise the party and keep the socialist agenda at the forefront of everything we do. And I think that we can do that. Finally, Matt, somebody referenced the leaked report. Actually, I should reference Dan's comments about infighting. Should we be infighting at this moment in time whenever we need to be offering a message for society? Well, obviously, we shouldn't be. It goes without saying, Dan. But the reason as to why Keir Starmer has created this infight is that he has no solutions for society, certainly no solutions that he wants to voice at this moment in time. And of course, the right wing have never had solutions. So the reason why we're having this fight is not over factionalism or one person. It is over the future direction of the Labour Party. Matt started this off by saying that the Labour Party is at an existential fork in the road. And he is quite right. The Labour Party is now at a place in time where it will either row back to the new Labour days, or it will continue to march in socialism. And that's why we have to have this fight as unhappy as we all are at the fact that it has been placed on the table. Finally, Matt, on the leaked report, the Ford inquiry will not come out before the end of this year. People will reach their own conclusions as to why there has been such a haste with other things, and then the Ford inquiry has been delayed. It won't be concluded, in my view, by the end of this year. It'll be into next year, and it will be an interesting time whenever that Ford report comes out. Will the Labour Party look to overlook what was obviously a concerted attempt to ensure that we didn't win the 2017 election, or will they be honest about the fact that the factions within Southside were working against the leadership and working against a socialist party going into number 10? I hope that they will be honest about that. I fear that they will not want to be honest about that, but I hope that they will be, and I hope that once that Ford report comes out, that will be another moment where the left can galvanise and unify itself together. I don't in any sense dismiss the difficulties of having a unified left. I was involved in the discussions over the slate as well. I don't dismiss those difficulties in getting a left unified, but it is a prize that is worth fighting for. We have to continue to go through these difficult meetings, continue to try and offer a leadership to all of the left, because if we can get a unified left going forward, then I really do believe that sooner rather than later the party will be back on the track that we need it to be on.